We're in the new section of the Qur'an, Al-Isra, or Journey by Night, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. And you can say, Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Glory to Allah who did take his servant for a journey by night from the sacred mosque to the farthest mosque, whose precincts we did bless in order that we might show some of our signs, for he is the one who heareth and seeth all things. We gave Moses the book, and made it a guide to the children of Israel, commanding, take not other than me as disposer of your affairs. So essentially, don't take anyone else as the person to help you in your issues of life. O ye that are sprung from those whom we carried in the ark with Noah, verily he was a devotee most grateful. And we gave clear warning to the children of Israel in the book, that twice would they do mischief on the earth, and be elated with mighty arrogance, and twice would they be punished. When the first of the warnings came to pass, we sent against you our servants given to terrible warfare. They entered the very most inner parts of your homes, and it was a warning completely fulfilled. Then did we grant you the return as against them. We gave you increase in resources and sons, and made you the more numerous in manpower. If ye did well for yourselves. If ye did evil, ye did it against yourselves. So when the second of the warnings came to pass, we permitted your enemies to disfigure your faces, and to enter your temple as they had entered it before, and to visit with destruction all that fell into their power. Wow. It may be that your Lord may yet show mercy unto you, but if ye revert to your sins, we shall revert to our punishments. That's a cool way to say it. That's a cool way to say it. But if ye revert to your sins, we shall revert to our punishments. That's a very tick for tat. Like this and then that. Like it has a very logical flow to it right there. And we have made hell a prison for those who reject all faith. Verily this Qur'an doth guide to that which is most right or stable, and giveth the glad tidings to the believers who work of deeds of righteousness, and they shall have a magnificent reward. And to those who believe not in the hereafter, it announceth that we have prepared for them a penalty grievous indeed. The prayer that man should make for good, he maketh for evil, for man is given to hasty deeds. Yeah, even I have to work on my impulsivity to anger. We developed that, I think, a lot here. We have to be quick to anger to survive. It's like striking all the time. I don't know, and then when you want to retrain your brain to not do that, it's very hard because the impulsivity is embedded now. We have made the night and the day as two of our signs. The sign of the night have we obscured, while the sign of the day we have made to enlighten you. Whoa, okay. The sign of the night we obscured, while the sign of the day we have made to enlighten you. That's interesting. The night one is obscured. There's a sign, but it's obscured, which makes sense because it's night. Then the light one is there to enlighten you. Oh, that's cool. That ye may seek bounty from your Lord, and that ye may know the number and count of the years. All things have we explained in detail. Every man's fate we have fastened on his own neck. On the day of judgment we shall bring out for him a scroll. Oh snap, what's it going to say? Which he will see spread open. Just right in front of you. It will be said to him, okay, hold on, I gotta underline this because this is too cool. It will be said to him, read thine own record. Sufficient is thy soul this day to make out an account against thee. Oh my goodness. Oh, that'd be a tough read. Oh, that'd be a tough read. You just lay it out and it's just there and you're like, you saw that? You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. Who receiveth guidance, receiveth it for his own benefit. Who goeth astray, doth sow his own loss. No bearer of burdens can bear the burden of another. I remember that from the past. You guys told me. That's one issue, if you notice, of like the Jesus dilemma, having someone else be the scapegoat to die for other people. Nor would we visit with our wrath until we had sent an apostle to give warning. Oh, that sounds just if you think about it. Look at that. Nor would we visit our own wrath until we had sent an apostle. So, like, we're not going to punish you until we've sent someone to inform you and educate you. And then if you reject it after you've been told, well, you know, you kind of brought it upon yourself. Sounds like something that is very practical, too. Like, especially like, oh, you can do this with humans, but especially with, like, let's say with a dog. It's not the same, right? I know apostle is not the same as dog trainer. I get it. But I'm just saying, like, the way my brain understands it is it's like you train something. So you train the dog to do X. It doesn't do X. You know, give your punishment, whatever that may be. Could be no treat. Could be, you know, like, hey. Could, you know, some dogs react to different ways to different punishments. Or discipline methods. And then, you know, you give them a warning. And then it's like, well, the dog learns it's his fault if it acts that way. Right? If you tell the dog, don't pee on the corner, and it pees on the corner, and then you put its nose in its pee, it's like, I told you, no. And then the next time the dog goes there, you're like, no. The dog looks at you and is like, okay. You know, and then you're like, okay, that's justice. You know what I mean? You let someone know, and then if they disobey, they get their punishment. Especially if it's a warning, right? Which can go like, don't do X crime or X will happen. You've been told of the law. If you then break the law, you have no one to blame but yourself because you broke the law with knowing that you were breaking the law. Got it. When we decide to destroy a population, we first send a definite order to those among them who they are given the good things of this life and yet transgress, so that the word is proved true against them. Then it is we destroy them utterly. Whoa, okay, listen. When they want to get rid of a population, you know, like, okay, you guys done, we're going to make you extinct. We're sending an order among you. And those who are doing good in life, and then they still do bad things, that is going to be some type of evidence against them that will serve to justify their destruction. That's what I get from this. How many generations have we destroyed after Noah? A lot. How many empires? Up and down. And enough is thy Lord to note and see the sins of his servants. And if any do wish for the transitory things of this life, we readily grant them. Such things as we will, to such persons as we will, in the end have we provided hell for them. They will burn therein, disgraced and rejected. If any do wish for the transitory things of this life, transitory, things that fade, material items, we readily grant them. Interesting. As we will. Interesting. Those who do wish for the things of the hereafter and strive therefore with all due striving and have faith, they are the ones whose striving is acceptable to Allah. See, this is interesting. If you contrast this to the Christian view of the meek will inherit the earth, a lot of people, now some people will get mad at me for saying this, but other people will understand where I'm coming from. When you say meek, a lot of people who are very alpha-minded, very strong-willed, not in a negative way, but like in just a self-survival way, they're like, the meek will inherit the earth. Those who sit back and do nothing and are a little mouse and are a little quiet and they don't risk their lives, they don't push for reform, they don't get out there, they don't push through the suffering, they don't exhibit strength. They're these meek little mute mice type of people. They're gonna get the earth. Some people have different interpretations of the word meek now. Some people think it means humble. Others think it literally means passivity, like utter passivity. And so, you know, that's why some people don't like that type of like, it makes them more like angsty towards listening to the rest of like the biblical doctrine, right? Because you're already telling me the strong are not going to inherit the earth, which I get brute force is not always needed, but there's different dynamics of people who may have a right to inherit the earth if they were good, right? There's different personalities that serve the grander purpose. So in here in 19, when it says, those who do wish for the things of the hereafter and strive therefore with all due striving, so focusing on the long-term goal, right? And they strive, they keep pushing, they go, they're not giving up. It's like trying to grab a rabbit that's just going and you got to go too. And with faith, like going like, okay, it's, come on, man, we're going to get there, just keep going. And then they are the ones striving, and that's acceptable to God. It's like they can see, like he sees the movement that you're coming closer to him and you're trying, no matter bouncing all around the obstacles. And you can't just be meek and sitting there expecting God to just teleport you out, right? You got to do something. You got to do activities. You got to reform yourself. You got to be active in the world, doing charity, having patience, enduring the idiots and all the types of tests that they're going to throw at you, right? So it makes sense. That's like more of a stronger a stronger way of saying, like, God enjoys to see you strive and do well and to come to him, and it's an acceptable form of worship. That sounds interesting. Of the bounties of thy Lord we bestow freely on all, these as well as those. The bounties of thy Lord are not closed to anyone. See how we have bestowed more on some than others. But verily the hereafter is more in the rank and gradation, more in excellence. That can help people who have a tendency to feel jealousy, right? It's like, okay, that person got more right now in the temporal world. Be patient and wait. When you pass on, you too might have something that you will love. And if you do good and you get into that form of paradise, you've earned it, you get it, you waited, you kept going, you strove, you got it. The long-term goal instead of the instant gratification, right? That's what I get from this. Take not with Allah another object of worship, or thou, O man, wilt sit in disgrace and destitution. Thy Lord hath decreed that ye worship none but him, and that ye be kind to parents. Ye be kind to parents, whether one or both of them attain old age in thy life. Say not to them a word of contempt, nor repel them, but address them in terms of honor. And out of kindness lower to them the wing of humility. And say, my Lord, bestow on them thy mercy, even as they cherished me in childhood. Your Lord knoweth best what is in your hearts. If ye do deeds of righteousness, verily he is most forgiving to those who turn to him again and again in true penitence. And render the kindred their due rights, as also to those in want. Render to the kindred their due rights, to those, as also to those in want, those in need, the poor, and to the wayfarer, the traveler. Wayfarer. I always imagine someone on a boat, like, I'm a wayfarer. Like, oh, I see you. Here's some bread. But squander not your wealth in the manner of spendthrift. Squandering your wealth and spendthrift, just buying a bunch of crap. So the credit economy would not survive in that type of mindset, because the credit economy wants you to take out massive credit, get into massive debt, to buy a bunch of crap you don't need, because the economy runs off of people buying a bunch of crap. And it makes money when they go in debt and they squander themselves because they owe that money, they pay the interest, and if they don't get it, someone's going to pay the credit card company anyways, even when that person declares bankruptcy or something like that, right? So, yeah, this is like a warning for that. Like, don't be dumb and get brainwashed by commercials. That's how I would apply this in the modern era. Verily, spendthrifts are brothers of the evil ones, and the evil one is to his Lord himself ungrateful. That's a true statement if I ever heard, man. Just laying down the facts. Laying down some wisdom on us, family. Even if thou hast to turn away from them in pursuit of the mercy from thy Lord, which thou dost expect, yet speak to them a word of easy kindness. Make not thy hand tied to thy neck. Make not thy hand tied to thy neck. Like never giving, because if it's tied here, you can't give it. And like being stingy, holding back your money. Yeah, your money in your hand. Okay. Tie nor stretch it forth to its utmost reach. Giving too much, getting too many people too far away, so that thou became blameworthy and destitute. There's a lot of financial advice here. That's interesting, because imagine so many people don't get financial education from their parents. They learn the hard way, and they get brainwashed by excellent Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, Citibank. All the different kind of banks send you really pretty mail with like propaganda to brainwash you into taking out money that you really can't afford to get short-term material gratification. So this is like giving you an ancient advice to a modern day problem. And that's kind of how you know there's some truth in it, because banks were not as powerful then as they are now, right? A lot of people don't understand how banks works and how they control so much of despair in the world. Very cool. Verily thy Lord doth provide sustenance in abundance for whom he pleaseth, and he provideth in a just measure, for he doth know and regard all his servants. Kill not your children for fear of want. Sounds like abortion, right? Kill not your children in fear of want. So women today get an abortion because they feel that they're too poor and they can't afford it. You know what's really sad, to build on this verse, we have a dear friend who she pays $120 a day for childcare for 8 hours. She works 6 days a week, and it's been hard on her. Like, she's a single mom, but just hard on her. And other women see her suffering, being depressed, and they think, I better not have kids if I don't have X amount of money. And if I do get pregnant, it's a curse, and I should therefore get an abortion to save my financial future. That's the sadness of the world now. But then people like me, now that I have been blessed with that type of mother spirit of love. We can eat rice and beans every day as long as you got a roof over your head. People can stare, but you know, if you can eat plain food and survive. The problem is when we see fancy food and then want to go out to eat every night, we think we're poorer than we actually are. Do you know what I'm saying? This verse reminds me of that. We shall provide sustenance for them as well as for you. Verily, the killing of them is a great sin. Nor come nigh to adultery, for it is a shameful deed and an evil, opening the road to other evils. Interesting. Nor take life which Allah has made sacred, except for just cause, and if anyone is slain wrongfully, we have given his heir authority to demand qisas or to forgive, but let him not exceed bounds in the matter of taking a life. Okay, so a lot of people they're like, that means you can kill people. No. Okay, here's an example. It's gonna get graphic, but it's literally probably what this means, at least in my brain's filtration of it. Let's say someone's been mean to me for a long time, and each day it builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up, and maybe I could just beat them up with my fists, punch some of their teeth out. They get the point, right? But then let's say I knock them out, and then you get on top of them and let's say you gut them, right? You slice it open and leave it in the street. I just went beyond the bounds, right? I did something extra for my own sins, like rage, wrath, thirst, justification, right? Could have been, if someone's being rude to me, a simple just like, like, get the hell away from me. Like that could have been sufficient, right? Like, okay, that's enough, like going beyond the bounds, So if you're going to take a life, don't do it in a gory manner as if that person's a fish. You know what I mean? For he's helped by the law. Like the law, the divine law is what I get. Like, even though that person wronged you, they are bound by the divine law, and so are you. You don't get to just not be bound by this law. That's how I take it. Come not nigh to the orphan's property, except to improve it. I remember that from before. Until he attains the age of full strength, and fulfill every engagement, for every engagement will be inquired into the day of reckoning. Give full measure when ye measure, and weigh the balance that is straight. That is the most fitting and the most advantageous in the final determination. And pursue not that of which thou hast no knowledge. For every act of hearing, or of seeing, or of feeling in the heart will be inquired into on the day of reckoning. Oh, that's so cool. I've often thought about that. That like everything you learn goes with you into the other dimension and the other reality. That's so cool. But this is like saying like, you know, don't look at like bad evil things. But like the things that your heart's inquired, like it's gonna come with you, and pursuing like good knowledge and like proper things. Very cool. Nor walk on the earth with insolence. Insolence. I'm trying to think that example of insolence. It's a tad bit like arrogance, right? But insolence is like, I don't know. I can think of the expression more than I can of like verbalizing what I think. For thou canst rend the earth asunder. Thou canst not rend the earth asunder. You can't destroy the earth, nor reach the mountains in height. No, canst rend the earth asunder. Asunder kind of means to fall, but I wonder if they mean to like go inside the earth, like extract all the minerals and just totally ruin the soil in the marshes and the rivers. Kind of like the California gold rush era, when they blew all the riverbanks out. It caused when there was mercury, there was also, when there was gold, there was also mercury. So the mercury, when they were spraying for the gold, went everywhere and it got into the fish, and that's why swordfish and other marine mammals, and well, not marine mammals, because that would be seals, but other fish, you know, they have such high levels biomagnification, bioaccumulation of mercury, because during the California gold rush, in the pursuit, they looked everywhere for gold and exposed mercury. So the fish cause you a lot of problems, and if you have a lot of mercury in your body, your baby can be born with neurological disorders, hence why they tell pregnant women not to eat fish because of the mercury. So interesting. Nor reach the mountains in height. So Mount Everest, how many people have died on Mount Everest? That's kind of what I think of. So like, if you think that you can conquer all the earth, you can just go wherever you want and not have any reverence and a concept of space and where you should go and where you shouldn't go, you know, you should think about that. This is what I get from it, and I'm pretty sure everyone has different interpretations, right? Of all such things, the evil is hateful in the sight of thy Lord. I wonder if it could also mean like building on those things too, totally reconstructing the environment. I wonder. So many different ideas come in my head when I think of that. What about you, family?